for me with the period I tried freelancing. I was like, you know what? Let me not wait for 10 years to realize by the way, hey, this thing is not giving me the financial growth that I want. Let me just learn from it now. I can come back to it later. And the reason is this: how graphic designers and how designers work is kind of different, and that's in terms of the kind of people they collaborate with. So while I was still a graphic designer, I mostly worked with marketing. And you see, like for product designers, they mostly work with engineers and product managers. That time I didn't know, because I was like, these are engineers, they know what they're doing, they've been working on this for so long. Me, I'm just a newbie, so I can't really object what is being said. And I think designers, graphic designers, or anyone from a different career path who wants to join to become a product designer, something that they can pick up is learning how to be advocate for users, and also knowing how to back the decisions that you make. I don't think you should be a designer who just sits back at their computer like, okay, nimesha design, sent to printer, do your thing. Unless this is somebody that's trusted by the company. But if kama ni wewe ndo, first of all, unatafuta this printer, I think you have to be active. Or in the case, if you're working with a new company and it's up to you to figure out how printing is gonna be done, or it's between you and marketing to figure out, just be present.
Hello and welcome back to Kenyan Design Conversations. Asanteni sana kwa kurudi. And we have an amazing guest with us. Kama kawaida, we bring you the very best of the best of the best. Lakini kwanza, before to introduce.
Mariga Elvis. Yes. Lakini nilisema 2024 lazima nikule ugali. Before that, let's welcome our amazing guest Leo. The floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Hi, audience of Design Conversations. I'm so happy to be here. You know, when I found out about Kenyan Design Conversations, I was so excited because I felt like, hey, where's the community? Where's the Kenyan design community? You know, we often just listen to designers from other places in the world, but it's good to know that there's actual conversations happening around the industry and it's by our people. So you guys are doing a good job.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you also for agreeing to come.
Yeah, I was so excited for this episode. Yeah, and thank you for having me.
Sawa sawa. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who Yuanita is. I was kumbuka hisi interview, so we don't expect you to tell us. Yes, tuambie, that's idea. But we also expect things like your hobbies, and then don't be modest about your achievements.
Being humble, staying humble.
Not in
So
KDK.
where do I start? So I maybe can start with a bit of my background. Of course, I'm a designer, hence why I'm in this podcast today. But my journey didn't begin with design. Actually, what I studied in university is public relations, but I guess I've always had a passion for design, and to be more specific, art. And the thing I loved about art is just how different emotions can be expressed through a painting, through a drawing. But then what I always had at the back of my mind is what more can come from this. And I know that art and design are different, but there are certain things from art that you can draw and bring on to design, like how to use color theory, such things, expression. And so while I studied public relations, you know, that period before guys join uni, I think in my time, a lot of people are doing ICDL. I don't know if people still do that. And that's not something I wanted to do. For the younger generation, ACDL is computer packages. I just didn't understand the concept of having to do computer packages. So I told my dad that I'm interested in design and animation, but at the time I didn't find anywhere to do animation. But maybe Shideli Kwayango, maybe I didn't do proper research to look for schools that were actually doing animation. So I did a short course in graphic design. Hey, but let me tell you, it was not what I expected. It was very theoretical, just learning about the tools. I can't say that I learned any principles. I think a majority of the design things that I knew then, and even still continue learning. Hey, YouTube University, so many graduates from there. Yeah, I basically learned from YouTube or from other designers. So after graduating university, um, I think I had a period where I was like, hey, let me try this PR thing. But then I realized that, you know what, this is really not my passion. I'm just trying to do it because that's what I studied. And I started off as a freelancer. So I'd get gigs from some of my friends, some of my relatives. I think freelancers have been there. You always get some biashara from people around you, and then also volunteering. So I started volunteering for Sofason, and I can say that that really helped, and it was a good place to practice how to design, because then I could get feedback and see how I can improve. So that's how I got into design, and I think I can explain further how I moved from doing graphic design to now going into product design. Yeah, so that's kind of how my journey looked like. Yeah, my passion stemming from art, then to graphic design, and then to product design. But please, no one should ask me to draw. Right now, if I
Really?
When
draw,
the artist, when
yeah,
the designer.
yeah, right now I'm a designer. In another life, I
Eh,
can be an artist. I can be a painter. But for this life, my current life, yeah, my heart is in design.
so in short unasema wewe unataka tu pressure ukiboeka you move to the next.
Pressure.
Listen, I'd call it pivoting. I don't let where I have set my mind to be like hiyo ndo kitu yenye nitafanya tu for the rest of my life. Like, yes, we have one life, but multiple lives in that one life. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, sawa sawa. So so it comes to my question, how as in how do you manage to, kutoka hapa ukienda hapa until ukafika product design.
So I guess for me, and if I can just speak in general before I go now specifically to design itself, when it comes to my interests and passion, now that I'm an adult, I think I have to balance between, yes, there's something that I love, doing what I love, but also growth, career growth is important, and also the money is important. And I know like a lot of people shy away from talking about money, and I think as Kenyans or even as Africans, it's not like a topic that's talked about widely. Yes, your passions should also be able to pay you, but sometimes that's not always the case. And for me, I had gotten to a point with graphic design, especially when I was freelancing, where I was like, you know what, sometimes the money is good, but it's not as consistent as I'd want it to be. And what I've seen with a lot of people who've remained in graphic design, either they're doing multiple things, so they have other businesses, or some of them are running agencies. And I can't even expound further on the topic of freelancing because I haven't freelanced long enough to maybe be an expert at that topic. But then I think for me, with the period I tried freelancing, I was like, you know what, let me not wait for 10 years to realize, by the way, hey, this thing is not giving me the financial growth that I want. Let me just learn from it now. I can come back to it later. So, in terms of how I moved from graphic to product design, so I graduated around 2019 December. You know, I was so excited. Yes, I've graduated. Kwanzaa, I was in ISEC, and we were being told if you're in ISEC, you're getting a job straight away. Hey, Hey, kwa ground vitu zilikuwa different. Yeah. So I got into my employment era at an interesting time. Just when the pandemic hit, you're here looking for a job when companies are having layoffs, which was quite discouraging. But then I remember I came across this startup called Impact Africa, and each year they took in fellows. So I'd seen on their website that they were open for the fellowship program, but then the roles that were there, I can't say I was really interested with them, but then I saw something that matched what I had studied, and I think they were looking for marketing fellows at the time. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try it. Can't hurt. But unajua tu saa zingine kukuwa na kichwa ngumu, was like, they're looking for marketing fellows, but tell them you're a graphic designer. So I did get an interview, but unfortunately I didn't get hired at the time. The interview was actually really good, and I can say even how the HR had a conversation with me, he was really good. Like, I wasn't pushed away because I applied for something that wasn't advertised. Basically, I was shooting my shot. And a few months later, like probably 6 months later, I get a call from the HR that was there then. And he was like, we currently have roles open for graphic designers. Are you still interested? You had applied with us a few months ago, did an interview, but at the time we were looking for marketing fellows, not graphic designers. And I was like, you know what? Actually, this has come at the right time, because I had already now shifted my mind from trying to continue looking for more comms or PR gigs and just focus on doing design. So that's why I started. I started at a startup, and I can say one thing that's good with a startup is that you actually get the chance to define your career path. First of all, the teams are small, and the work that's there actually allows you to experiment and learn a lot, because there are different kind of projects that you get to immerse yourself in. So I can say the learning opportunities were there, and that's now what led me into growing my interest in product design. I don't know if I should go to what my major tasks looked like when I joined that startup.
Hi, well, before you go there, wow,
Such a journey, right?
yeah, guy. So probably yeah, ni kama like yeah, you are just walking on the right path.
Yeah. Wait, Kwanzaa, how did you even know to shoot your shot? Like,
Eh,
that's
it
something
was
I've never had anyone say they shot their shot. You're the first.
it was difficult. I think, hey, the point we were in with the world and the pandemic, you're just like, this thing might, we didn't know how long it would last for. It could have lasted for 10 years. No one knew. So I was like, by the way, will I just sit here waiting? And by then I had tried a couple of things that weren't working. So before I even decided, like, I'm just gonna focus on design, I had tried doing like artist management. I realized there's so much gatekeeping in the industry. I was like, that's not for me. That's not the battle I want to fight. I tried selling my own merchandise. Actually, I'd partnered up with a friend to start like sort of our own brand. We had created sketchbooks for artists. Let me tell you, my dreams there, I had the wildest dreams and really trying to shoot for the skies. But then when we started that project, we didn't do any kind of market research. So you're here focusing on, oh, my designs are good. People are telling you, yes, your designs are good, but is there a need for what you are trying to produce? And I think there was a time I was also held on, what, if I don't get a job, I'm just gonna be an entrepreneur. And I was really trying to focus on that. But then I quickly learned that there's the importance of getting employed. There are things that you actually learn from a company that you don't get to learn or know when you're just trying to move around the business world by yourself. So I can say from the failures that I had, they are the ones that made me not sit down and stay comfortable. So I'm like, you know what? The least I can do is try. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Yes, I'll be told a no and it will hurt. And I know that sometimes looking for a job can be mentally draining and very exhausting. It's not an easy journey. So yeah, just trying to motivate myself. And I had gone through this phase of watching these YouTube champions who are telling you it's all about the mindset. I don't know if you guys know those people. Watching people like Kina Chris Do, Seth Godin. So I was like, you know what? These guys are like coaches for my brain. If they're telling me I can do this, let me try. So I guess even the kind of things I was consuming at the moment really made me believe in myself.
Ah, wow. Gotcha.
Yes, we did actually. We know Chris Do and Seth Godin. Au ama
Yeah.
ujui Seth Godin? Unajua Chris Do lakini.
Chris Don namjua. Eh,
Ebu uliza swali ulikuwa unataka kuuliza.
sasa as in mina imagine like hii time enye ulikuwa like you really wanted to transition because you reached a point where you're looking to even to the content, to the exact content that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's oh. Na sasa after your transitions to product design, how did you
Unaenda mbio pole pole. You were to tell us alikuwa anafaa tuambie nini role zake akiingia hiyo graphic design startup zilikuwa gani?
by the way, yeah.
Anzia hapo Yuanita.
Oh yeah. So when I joined Impact Africa, my main tasks were to support marketing. So, and also, I'll call it for now in quotes product development, or let me just say giving products their brand identity. Actually, that's a better term. Supporting marketing and heavily working on brand identity. Actually, think there's a time I did logos and I was like, if I see another logo again, my mind is just gonna go mad. Yeah. So most of the things that I did centered around supporting social media, doing artworks, posters for that, merchandise, and um, what I can say from that experience is that you can assume that as long as you're a designer, you can enter into any other discipline of design without struggle. But while I was at Impact Africa, I learned that that wasn't true. Even me myself, I had those beliefs that, I'm a designer. Today I can be a graphic designer. Tomorrow I can enter UX easily, but that wasn't the case. And the reason is this: how graphic designers and how designers work is kind of different, and that's in terms of the kind of people they collaborate with. So while I was still a graphic designer, I mostly worked with marketing. And you see, like for product designers, they mostly work with engineers and product managers. Even our approach in terms of how we work, it's kind of different. Yes, like the basics are there. Do research before you start designing. You have your drafts, your sketches, etc. But then, like, even looking at how research is done when we're working as graphic designers versus product, it's quite different. I can say for product, it's quite extensive because you're talking to the users. For when I was a graphic designer, I don't think I talked to any users at all. If anything, it's the marketing team that went out, did the research, gathered insights, and basically they're the ones who created the creative brief of what they needed. So if it's like a poster, maybe this is what they need. They need a poster that will go out on social media, and basically the decisions that they make would be based off the performance of a previous post. And we can get this through things like analytics. And if you compare to something like product design, it's kind of the same but not really, because for product design you can make changes as you continue speaking to your users. And for graphic design, if a post has gone out, it has already gone out. You can improve on the next post. Even something like a billboard, once it's gone out, it's gone out. You can only improve the next one. But then you see products, I can't say products have an end, they continue living. So yeah, when I was at Impact Africa, my tasks were mainly marketing centered. So landing pages, logos, brand books, merchandise.
Santi, I think nime notice mention one major difference between graphic design and product design ama UX. The iteration
Yes.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kuna graphic designer kando yangu ameniangalia sijui aje aongea basi.
Nakuanga graphic designer.
Wewe ni kila kitu jamani.
Yeah,
Full stack software developer, product designer, graphic designer, community manager, co-founder,
That's a
host,
lot.
co-host.
I
Sijamaliza hata list.
I
Lakini tuambie, maybe you have different views on the matter.
on the matter. No, Yuanita ameshasema yote. Amesema graphic designer wanaongea na marketing.
So ni niambie pole basi ulikuwa unaniangalia aje? Niambie pole.
Ai sasa tujia kukuangalia tu.
Wewe kwenda. Sawa Yuanita.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep going.
You've also mentioned something when you're saying the differences. There was this meme that was going around of a person holding a placard saying that UX designers are not graphic designers. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Bado.
Come on, Jonah, I will send it to you. But actually, it's true. Once you tell someone you're a designer, they expect, especially I even feel like it's harder for UX designers than it is for graphic designers. Because, like, let's say you've hired a UX designer and now you expect them to create a poster, but they've been majorly working on interfaces, not marketing material. They don't know. Okay, let me not say they don't know, but then they might not be familiar with maybe what settings you're supposed to put for print and such things. So I think during my transition, I learned that, because even me, I thought, oh, I see people doing this product thing. It must be easy. I think I can try it. And then I was put into a project that actually required that. But because I was a new product designer, I can't really say I understood the core things of product design. And that specific project was very engineering led. So you guys know the process usually starts with design before it gets into development. For this particular project, it was vice versa. So the developers would discuss what they want and then come and tell me. Or even if they discuss it together, we'd work on the designs together. So I can't say like that process was the easiest, because I didn't even know whether I'm doing the right or the wrong thing. Right? And I guess part of this process even shows why it's important sometimes to go out and look for resources, and just upskill. So I can say during that period, one thing that helped me were other designers in the company. So like how we used to work, each designer had like a project they were working on. So I can say like probably one designer was in charge of like 3 projects. So it's very hard to know what struggles the other person has, because you guys are not working on the same project unless you raise it up. Yeah, so for me that process was a bit hard, and at that time I didn't know, because I was like, these are engineers, they know what they're doing, they've been working on this for so long. Me, I'm just a newbie, so I can't really object what is being said. And I think designers, graphic designers, or anyone from a different career path who wants to join to become a product designer, something that they can pick up is learning how to be advocate for users, and also knowing how to back the decisions that you make when it comes to design. Because like when you're new, sometimes your voice might not be heard, or you might have imposter syndrome. For me, it's not that my voice was not being heard. Actually, I was being encouraged a lot, but I think I had imposter syndrome, and I was just letting all the decisions be made by the engineers. And at, at the end of that project, tulimaliza na bado ilikuwa inahitaji like a lot of changes. When we brought in now an actual product designer, that's when I learned some of the mistakes I was making. You see, I brought in my graphic design brain to the product design world. You see, the way there are certain things that should be followed in product design. Like if you're creating forms, they should be a certain size, buttons should be a certain size, fonts should be
Yeah.
a certain size. With graphic design, you're allowed to experiment with your creativity. You can have like your focal point text be as big as you want. And I can attest to that because of how billboards look like. Yeah, people are very experimental with things like billboards, even posters that go onto social media. But then imagine trying to apply the same mentality when it comes to interfaces. You're suddenly opening your finance app and you're seeing such huge fonts. That would be a little bit crazy. So I had to unlearn some of the things I thought were correct and start learning the principles of your UI UX basically. And sometimes it takes some humbling because you've gone from being praised to like, oh, you're such a good designer. And then you meet other designers who are actually more experienced than you, that now you actually have to humble yourself and learn from them. I remember one of the things I was told, hey, hizi icon zako. They're a bit too big, ma'am. And in my house, I was like, I hizi icon ziko sawa. Until somebody pointed it out, I was like, to me, this looks normal. But you see, I'm coming from a different part of design and I had not done any course or anything to learn how to become a product designer. So it's just like, here's a project, you do it, figure it out. Yeah.
I think I can relate to that, except differently.
Yeah.
In the sense that mi nilikuwa UX designer but my own graphic design na sijui kama get.
You
Sa
were at?
kuna vitu tu na insist, kuna vitu tu na insist na graphic designers hawaget shida yangu ni gani. Sawa, now I know.
Kwanza, one thing that I think I got character development, use of color as a graphic designer. And then now when you come to products, you can use your saturated colors kwa poster, especially if you're doing designs that have so much energy, like colorful designs. But then when it comes to interfaces, you can't do that. You're gonna burn people's eyes. Yeah. Yeah.
Eh, so it's all about unlearning.
Yeah.
You unlearn graphics.
Or knowing the at least now I know the difference.
Yeah.
Like
So
I
I
cannot
go on.
siezi like najaribu kumbuka the number of times nilienda back and forth juu ya graphic designer juu ya vitu juu mi nimezoea UI UX.
Visually graphic designer anaangalianga hivi. Graphic designer ni ile at a glance, unaona at a glance amekuuzia kitu anataka kuuza. Yes.
Yeah.
Only a graphic designer would know that.
Yes. But product designer lazima unajua uko na information mingi, lazima umuelezee pole pole. Fai kumuumiza hadi macho.
Yeah.
And then also
Yuanita uliget?
get nini?
Thank you, asante sana. Amesema ili nimeexplain ka graphic designer, nilisema mimi si graphic designer.
Mi naelewa. Mi niliget.
Sawa. Yeah. Guys. Sasa so sahi iko aje? Product design iko aje? Iko fiti sana kuliko graphics. Au miss graphics?
You know
By
that
the
thing of
way.
sometimes you can do one thing for so long hadi uchoke nayo. I think I had gotten to that point. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
graphic design.
Yeah, with graphic design. When it comes to graphic design, I feel like I'd want to take up other roles and not do the design work specifically. Maybe become like an art director or something. But yeah, doing the actual work of designing, I don't think that's a space I want to go back. I want to go back to. Yeah, and then I also feel like if you compare product to graphic design, graphic design is not appreciated as much in this country compared to product. Because first of all, as a graphic designer, I okay, thank God where I was working at IN, I didn't have to experience this. But for sure, I know that as a graphic designer, there's the expectation that you're a social media manager, you're a videographer, video editor. I'm like, those are four different roles. Just hire four people for all those roles, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes it ends up being something that's not enjoyable. But I do know people who really are gurus at it, love it, enjoy it. Me, for me, I feel like I've just pivoted from that. Let me not say like I will never, ever, 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 ever go back to graphic design. I don't know
Okay.
that. But then, like where I'm at now, I just prefer to take up more product roles than more graphic design roles, because like even where I see myself in the near future is being more in products than supporting or working in marketing or advertising.
Yani, yani umesema the talent you have learned from marketing and graphic design but I'm sure you have umeileta hiyo skill yote ukaweka kwa product. The only thing really change ni kusoma rules za product design.
Yeah, understanding it, how it works in product differently. The concepts are there, but understanding how to apply it. And actually, one thing I learned from my mentor, because Achata niseme how my CV used to look like, graphic designer, product designer, sijui what. When I was going through mentorship, she told me that if you want to end up working for a big company, you really need to shape and basically tell us through your CV or LinkedIn what your future role looks like, who you want to be. Because if I see that you're applying for a product design role, but then I'm seeing a lot of graphic design in your resume, I'll think that you just want to test this thing. You're not really serious about wanting to be a product designer, even in terms of portfolio. Because at least I can say now I have a lot of product related projects in my portfolio. But before it was a mix. She actually told me, remove all these marketing stuff, all these graphic design things, because as a hiring manager, I'm only interested in products. If you bring both, it will look like you're not settled where you want to be. And I only think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. In Kenya, there's this habit for, oh, when hiring managers see I've done so many different roles, I'm more marketable, valuable to a company because I come with more skills. But then bigger companies, what I learned is they are very niche. We have people who are doing specific things. Kuna mtu wa kuna visual designer na kuna product designer na kuna product manager. So if we are hiring you, we are hiring you for a specific role. We don't need all these other things. So if they're outshining what you're looking for, you might end up not being selected or even getting to an interview because you're competing with other people who are really focused on that role. So I think also just trying to curate how I want to be perceived and what I want my career to, how my career path to look like, basically.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. So in short, so in short, unasema nikitaka kufika Google kama product designer, lazima nimekikwe targeted product designer.
Yes, it has to be
Yeah.
targeted. There's a space for generalists though, and I usually say I've been seeing people like asking generalist versus specialists. I'm like, you don't have to really close one door and say I will never ever be a generalist. I feel like it's just seeing at this moment, what do I need to apply. Like if I'm looking for a company in a role in big tech, they look for more of specialists than generalists. So that's how I'm supposed to curate my CV and my social media. By social media, mostly LinkedIn. And there are times where maybe you're needed to be a generalist. So maybe places like small businesses or startups, because sometimes they don't hire a full team like the way Microsoft or Google would hire like a very huge team of designers. So in the case where if you're in a startup, maybe they might require you to be more of a generalist. than a specialist. So I guess it's more of knowing what to apply where, instead of like, it's not written on stone. It's just knowing where, what to apply where. Yeah.
Very, very, very interesting. Sasa sikwe graphic designer pia wewe. At least to transition backwards.
Why would you say it's transitioning backwards?
Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Unataka
Graphic designers
kukanseliwa na
mad.
See,
ada.
because you'll be unlearning. Because you'll be unlearning. Yes.
We haja yako ni kwa unlearn.
Eh,
We nika ulisahau ile point ya pesa wewe.
eh.
Oh yeah, the money as well. Me, I want a graphic designer.
Kuna graphic designer anakula pesa mzuri kuliko product designer. Iko.
Now I want those people to come and talk.
Iko.
I know more of product designers who are, I don't know many graphic designers who are. The ones I know are the ones who eventually sasa wakona their own agencies. They're running agencies. Those are the ones I know.
And how many years did it take?
Some good
Yes.
years, probably.
Exactly.
Yes.
So by the time nifike hapo, I'll have to like have gone twice. Unajua, sai dunia ina move mbio sana. Sai wasi wengi wafanya graphic design, I'll have to catch up and do all that.
Lakini hata sasa kuna watu wanafanya product design wengi. Tangu COVID ianze, mlisema tu ni sawa.
Ni ukweli, ni wengi, ndio maana penye niko sahi nafaa already nikuwa na catch up. Sasa niache catch up hii penye niko hapa. Hivyo. Nianze hii ingine from scratch. Mse,
Sinikujibamba.
kwa ekonomi ya Ruto.
Eh.
Unajibamba kwa ekonomi ya Ruto. Lucky is you.
Sasa si wengi unosha understand principles zake. Wewe unakuja kuhangaika kwa graphics. Yuanita silikuwa hivyo. Wewe umeelewa graphics. Unakuja kuhangaika na products.
Yeah, products they need character development na humbling. And then you see at a product, other than the design part, understanding that, lazima ufanye, you need to go to the field. You need to run workshops. You need to, all that.
Lakini hiyo ndo nataka. Graphic design enda field gani? Naongea na nani?
You do. Actually, you do. If you're working with agency, I think you get the chance to do that. Like people who get huge advertising clients, I think they have to. Because if you're let me even talk about something like print. Misijui. I mean, I wouldn't be a designer who nimetumia kazi to print, and like I'll have to go to the printer and actually look at the work, unless this is someone the company has been working with for years, so they can already vouch for their work. Because there's some character development you can get with printers. And that time, maybe you've made huge orders. You know, that's a loss to your client and a loss to you. And do you think your client will spend more money on that? Like, you guys will have to figure out how you're going to come up with more prints. So there are risks involved, which is why I don't think you should be a designer who just sits back at their computer like, okay, nimesha design, sent to printer, do your thing. Unless this is somebody that's trusted by the company. But if kama ni wewe ndo, first of all, unatafuta this printer, I think you have to be active. Or in the case, if you're working with a new company and it's up to you to figure out how printing is gonna be done, or it's between you and marketing to figure out, just be present, because you can end up being blamed and shida sio. Yeah,
sure. Hiyo nafaa nakumbuka guy, kuna time nimetembea River Road, your printouts. You find umetumia za ku print kitu, unashangaa sasa, really you have to go. Unashangaa ni street gani sikuwa najua Nairobi. So you have to go to the ground. Anyway, by the way, this hakuna nyenisho. Graphic design and product design, kila nini iko na stretch yake different. Iko tu na challenges zake.
It's choosing.
Lazima tu learn when you navigate through.
It's choosing what hard you want. Zote ni ngumu, but choosing Even with Canva, people still request for graphic designers. A lot of people are saying, now that Canva iko hapa, we
Exactly.
don't need we don't need designers, but people still need them. People are still getting logo requests, poster requests. I think almost every week I see.
And then they realize they
um
can't think like designers. Lakini wacha
yeah,
wa realize the hard way kwanza.
because some people think design is just weka color, weka shapes, weka picture, does it. And that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. You get people. Oh, ni kama you remember ushaisikia nini, not web developers, wanaitwanga WordPress developers. Kuna
Yeah,
wasiojita WordPress developers na an editing template peke yake. So akieditia client template, client ana feel yeah, ni sawa, content ni yangu, pictures na, but it doesn't give that.
yeah,
The same thing. Sasa mtu anaona kuna Canva, kuna poster kali kali zinakaa venye na afikiria, lakini at the end akichange hata information, it doesn't give
yeah,
that vibe
yeah,
wanataka. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But I always say you
So
get,
probably that's why people put up the logo.
yeah, that's why I say you get what you pay for. You can end up using templates for the rest of your life as a business, or you can hire someone to do it. Or, okay, using templates is not bad, because
Just
even
do it.
Frima has templates. You can get someone to actually maybe design. I think that what the purpose for it is what is important. Maybe you have a small team, and templates would make sense because it might be easier uh, for your marketing team and for the developers. Because if your team is small, hakuna jaya kusumbua developers kila sana, small changes. So maybe in that case, a template would make sense, something that guys in comms or people in marketing can easily update and change. Yeah. So I guess basically what you need. But then for some people, it's not even what they need. They don't want to spend money. And it's not that they can't afford to spend the money. Like I said, I don't think design is appreciated as much in Kenya compared to other places. So I feel like anywhere somebody can cut a cost, they do, especially for people who don't understand the role of design, what it does, how it helps your business.
Yeah, but I think like it's just ndio imeanza ku appreciated. People are
Yeah.
starting to realize, but it will
Yeah.
take time to get there. Anyway,
But you know what?
so
At
hata
least
hata
we're
juzi
making
hata
progress.
so mlisema designers is just going global. Sawa, alafu sasa ndio mwanza kurudi. So imagine maybe design start be appreciated maybe in the next 10 to 20 years.
Hata nitakuwa nisha retire.
Sasa
Utakuwa
you'll be a
ukitufanyia
consultant
like,
probably somewhere.
utakuwa industry expert inspiring more young people.
Yeah.
with with around 13 to 16 years of experience. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To be very nice and very interesting. Probably Yuanita probably yatakuwa maybe daktari. Najua anapenda kuexplore.
Oh
Anaweza
damn.
kuwa ni
I used to
daktari
work
by
for a
the
healthcare company
Oh.
You see, you
as a
never know.
designer and as a comms
Yeah.
person. I appreciate the work health professionals are doing. It is definitely a calling. Hey, your CMT, that one is a calling. A lot of hard work, but they save our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Tunawasalutingi kila siku.
Yeah.
So, before to wrap up, is there anything naweza kuwa nimesahau na ulikuwa umeprepare kushow?
Maybe I'd say for anyone who wants to transition into product, regardless of whether they're a graphic designer or not, um, You could be someone in marketing who's now interested in UI, UX. Some of the things that helped me that could help someone else out there is, first of all, learning the tools, learning the basics and learning the tools. Learn the basics of design, learn the tools, because no one is gonna come teach you how to use the tools at work. They can help you with other things, but the expectation is at least you know how to use the tools. The other thing I guess that helped me was um, other designers. So while I worked at a startup, and I can't say our team was that big. Of course, there were people who had more experience than me who could help. So always seeking feedback from other designers. And if you find yourself in a position where a solo designer, one thing that helps you joining design communities. You can always get your work critiqued by other designers. Like, don't lock yourself to just the designers you work with. The principles are the same. So get other designers who are in the space to help you through this journey. And mentors are also a good place to even start from. And you can easily get mentors from places like ADP List. Actually, I got a lot of mentors from ADP List when I was transitioning. It's just now that I'm using one consistent person as my mentor. And you see, mentors are like, they provide pathways for you that make things easier for you. It's like they're like a shortcut to life because they've already made those steps. So why try figure out things by yourself when you can find someone who's already done it and they can help you get to where you want to get, right? And yeah, just trusting the process. Like, you won't know everything in one day. Even me, there are things that I discover, I'm like, I didn't even know about this. And it's all about staying curious, attending things like industry events, talking to other designers. You get to learn more. So it's a journey and a continuous journey. Even when you think you're a guru, there's someone who is better than you. So when you think that, now I'm a good designer, no, you still have more to learn. Like, don't stay comfortable. But design is fun. You get to solve problems in a cool way.
Wow. Eh, anyway, lakini sasa mimi sijui nitaanzia wapi. Nitakuja unifunze colors. Sijui kama unatoka graphics ukaingia hapa, nitakuja colors.
Kuja.
Nice one. You have
Yuanita, one last maneno for us transitioners.
Yes.
Nimekuwa challenged kuingia graphic design lakini sioni.
nakupatia
Imagine.
miwani.
Imagine. Just
Yes.
try it. You might surprise yourself. Let me tell you, even when I was getting into product, yes, kulikuwa na your interest, but I never thought that one day I'll be doing products. I was like, hey, I'll just become like the Chris Do of Kenya. I didn't think like I'd enter products at all. I didn't think. Yeah, I was like, I'll start my own graphic design company, like an agency, become an art director. Sometimes, the world surprises you. Like, you plan so much, and then the thing you thought you wouldn't do, now you're doing it. Oh, I even forgot to mention one of the easiest ways to learn and even fun is replicating designs. Actually, that was one of the ways I was teaching myself. Nenda pale, dribble, I look at what other people have done, or Behance or Pinterest, and try and replicate the design so that I could understand the patterns. Of course, I'm not publicly posting these designs in your Itakwa plagiarism, but just or doing these UI challenges. I think there's like 100 days of UI or something like that, just to understand patterns. Like, this is how people design finance apps, commonly used colors, etc. Yeah.
Hata mimi nakumbuka ukisema hivyo, nakumbuka nikitry kuchora, kuna ile design ya Safaricom ilikuwa ina fly.
Yeah.
ilinishinda, lakini nilijaribu.
Ati nini ya Safaricom ilikuwa
Kuna ile
offline?
kulikuwa na inaitwangaje, ni landing pages. Yes, sasa kulikuwa na hii moja nini yao ilikuwa na that nini, it was the ndege like uje maybe wewe si mtu wa Safaricom, so ishana ile ndege yao ikifly ya pepa
Mistake.
Naijua.
hiyo. Yes, kulikuwa sijui ni designer mgani alitengenezanga yake hiyo ndege ilikuwa ina fly. Nikajaribu kureplicate, kasema hebu nirudi class kwanza.
And you see, what you've mentioned is important, because the thing with replicating na ata getting feedback from other people is, in as much as yes, taking courses is good, kuna point here you need to start applying what you're learning. Take the courses, yes, practice, get feedback, so that you know where to improve on and you can focus on that specific area. Because outafanya boot camps for the rest of your life, like, you know, maybe I'm not really good at typography, maybe that's what I should focus on. I have issues with layout, so maybe I should focus on layout. Maybe you're not too bad with color, so you won't spend too much time on color. Also know where to focus your energies and what places require more attention.
So to see force issues, not to see procrastinate. That's what I've heard.
Procrastination. Let me just laugh at that one.
What you've said
Because
is
me, I'm guilty. Especially when I was making my portfolio. Very guilty. I'm like, you know what? But then you see, I realized in my mind, ukona imagination of how the end of this thing, the final product should look like. But then you don't understand, like, before you get to that final place, you're gonna have so many drafts which might not be very pleasing to your eye. Keyword, to your eye. Maybe someone else will see it and go like, wow. But then I feel like we're the harshest judges of ourselves. So we'll be like, I bado haiko ready, I bado haiko fiti. Yeah. Mimi. It took me 1 year before I went from draft to final design, because the first design I did, I was like, perfect. It end alive. Hey. A few weeks later, I looked at it. I was like, you know what? It's not where I want it to be. I don't like it. I changed the entire. Yes, I could small changes. I changed the entire design, and I feel like sometimes doers are better off, because they're like, you know what? This thing just needs to go live. Venyiko will make changes along the way, and that's like a mindset I'm trying to change for myself. Venyiko, let's push it. As long as it's usable, okay, isikae vibaya pia, but changes can, improvements zitakuwa, hata manyumba hufanyiwa renovation. Yeah.
Shout Chantel, scare your part. MVP my friend, MVP ni MVP.
sawa na utolea happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Chantel umekasalia
tu
up.
Imagine. Ambia conversationalist kama walifika tu hii point nafaa wa subscribe alafu uambie bye.
Guys, conversationists, if you've reached to this point, kindly subscribe and look out for the next episodes. It was nice chatting with you guys. See you on the next one.
Nice one. So ni conversationalists. Hebu jaribu kuisema wewe.
Conversationalists. Damn, nimewaita conversationist.
Which is conversationist, which is still a good thing.
Conversationalists.
Ebu kwanza niandike. Nisiseme conversationist tena. Conversationalist.
I'm going to buy.
Bye guys. It has been Mariga and Yuanita here, and our favorite one,
The host generator. Bye.